Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been so long, but I'm super excited to be back and better than ever. My name is Naya Iman, but you can call me Nye, and this is going to be your space for self-improvement, mindset shifts, and just overall stepping into your best self. And today I have a super interesting video planned for you guys, so without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, y'all, so today Gregory and I are going to be talking about how to stop chasing everything in your life and start receiving. And when I say stop chasing, I don't mean doing less, being passive, or waiting for life to happen. We're talking about regulating your nervous system, releasing survival mode, and becoming the version of yourself who naturally attracts, recognizes, and sustains the opportunities, relationships, and blessings you've been working for. Have y'all ever felt like you're doing everything right? You're working hard, you're setting goals, healing, manifesting, but for some reason life still feels like a constant struggle. The problem may not be your effort. The problem may be that you're trying to create your dream life from survival mode. Today we're going to show you how to shift into your soft era using both neuroscience and spiritual principles so you can stop chasing and start allowing. So what exactly even is survival mode? Well, survival mode is simply a state where your brain and body are more focused on protection rather than creation. Which for most of us, this is our default setting because our brain's natural function since birth is to promote survival and safety. And it does this by keeping us in familiar thought processes, environments, and habits. For the brain, predictable equals safe. Now, obviously, the brain's desire to keep us alive is a great thing. But what happens when we wake up and we start to hate that life that we live, that same old predictable life, and we want to change? When we challenge our own boundaries, we trigger the nervous system. And when the nervous system perceives danger, it prioritizes safety, control, hypervigilance, and avoiding pain instead of creativity, connection, intuition, and growth. And despite our best effort and intention, we self-sabotage ourselves right back into that same loop of consciousness, aka the reality that you're living right now. Because when you're in survival mode, you're energetically broadcasting, I don't have enough, I have to force things, or I'm not safe. And that is what creates the resistance. So how did we end up here in the first place? The most common causes of survival mode can include, but are not limited to, childhood conditioning, financial stress, toxic relationships, burnout culture, constant comparison online, unhealed emotional wounds, and so on. All of these can trigger us into a state of despondency and make life not very enjoyable to live. But what's even worse is the brain is addicted to learning patterns. So if you've spent years operating from a place of survival or stress, then your nervous system will start treating stress as familiar or normal. You can literally become addicted to urgency, toxicity, stress, negativity without even realizing it. This is why sometimes you'll notice that people are uncomfortable when things are calm or healthy, like in relationships. You're getting bored with the partner that provides emotional stability or consistent affection and effort because you're not used to it. Your brain and body are not familiar with those things, so they subconsciously move you back towards what's familiar or known, which is where your desire for all the wrong things comes from. So now that we know a little more about survival mode and why it's such a sucky place to be in, I want to put some things into perspective for you. The main three problem areas for people in life, no matter your race, ethnicity, age, gender, whatever, it's always going to be health, wealth, and relationships. And living in survival mode affects every single one. Starting with health. Constantly living in survival mode causes the release of stress hormones into the brain. These hormones, like cortisol or adrenaline, will throw off your autonomic nervous system. Now, the autonomic nervous system, or ANS, is what regulates your body's involuntary internal functions. So that's going to be your heart rate, your digestion, blood sugar levels, hormonal secretions, which signal your organs to behave a certain way. Like, y'all, this stuff gets deep. If you don't put the work in to rewire the way your brain processes things, you're at risk of developing autoimmune diseases, hormonal imbalances, chronic tension, fatigue. I honestly could go on, and I'm not trying to scare you. That's not the purpose of this video, but I'm simply here to make you aware of the fact that all things are connected. So when you heal from within, you can literally heal your body. Same thing with wealth. I think it's so sad that the way of life these days is so deeply rooted in hustle culture. Work harder, go longer, no rest. We gotta eat. Like, I mean, it's insane. What are we training for? Everything in life is energy. And one of the strongest forms of energy is thought. When we produce certain thoughts and those thoughts carry a specific energy, we're emitting that energy out into the universe. And the bittersweet part about this is the fact that energy is always going to multiply. That's literally what it does. You put out good thoughts and energy, you get that back. But if you constantly make decisions from a scarcity mindset, overwork yourself, have fear-based spending habits, or difficulty seeing opportunities, that's the energetic frequency that you produce and therefore get back multiplied. And these principles move into relationships as well. Survival mode in relationships can look like anxious attachment, overgiving, people-pleasing, fear of rejection. All of these subconscious mental blocks stem from a place of survival mode. It's not genuine love. This is why, despite your yearning for a positive and healthy love life, you keep attracting narcissistic, manipulative losers. It's the energy that you're putting out returning to you, which is why I personally believe nobody should be dating until they've at least become aware of these habits and patterns in their life and know the actionable steps to take to remove them. That's the only way you're gonna build a life you love. You cannot build from a chronically activated nervous system. Now this is where we get into the good stuff. I want you to take a moment, pause the video, get a pen and paper if you have to, and I just want you to ask yourself a few questions. The goal of this is to figure out who is your highest self. What do they feel like? Are they peaceful, strong, confident, trusting? What are the core values and traits of this higher self? How do they think? Well, they probably focus more on abundance than scarcity. They pay more attention to possibility rather than fear. They trust in the divine unfolding of their lives rather than having to control everything. What are their habits? They protect their peace for sure. They probably keep their promises to themselves, which as a result increases self-esteem and self-respect. They take a beat and regulate before they react out of emotion. They also might prioritize healthy habits that improve their overall well-being. Now, the reason I'm asking you these questions is because your future self is not created when you arrive at your destination. In fact, the only way to develop into this higher version of yourself is to fake it till you make it. So identify who they are and bring them into reality by making decisions that are in alignment with that. Now that we know who we are, let's talk about actionable steps. Exactly how do we shift into our soft, elevated way of thinking and being? Now, this is where a lot of people tend to get caught up because they can listen and understand the things that I'm saying, and they may even recognize where they personally are going wrong. But what they don't understand is that you can't think your way out of survival mode. You have to release control. So step one, nervous system regulation. No, I'm sorry. Step one is going to be removing the things in your life that are triggering your nervous system. If you can, if you have the power to remove people, environments, take yourself, out of certain situations that cause you and your nervous system to be activated. Then step two is going to be regulating. You got to teach your body safety. So this can look like going on walks, daily walks, grounding exercises, things that make you feel energetically safe and protected and grounded. Breath work is another great tool to use as well. When you consciously breathe in a certain formula, inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 6 seconds. When you breathe in that specific formula, you stimulate what's called the vagus nerve in your brain. Your vagus nerve then forces your autonomic nervous system to shift from a hypervigilant sympathetic state to a more calm parasympathetic state, which is where you create from. Meditation is also great for this as well. Now, the purpose of meditation and why I feel like it frustrates so many people is the fact that they believe the goal is to stop their thoughts. That's wrong. That's you trying to control. Your thoughts are just that, thoughts. You don't have to feed into them. You don't have to believe them. By meditating, we're allowing the negative thoughts to exist, but we're also creating distance from them while simultaneously moving closer to our more desirable thoughts. So even if you just start with 10 minutes a day, get used to calming your mind so you can release that negative energy and get it off of you. Now, identity work is probably the most important step of this whole process. You have to work on how you perceive yourself. That's where transformation really begins. So who am I being today? Who do I want to become? And how would that version of me go about each and every situation? When you decide the answers to those questions, repeat them to yourself over and over, because repeated thoughts strengthen neural pathways. Neural pathways that you travel over and over creates your habits. Your habits create your identity. Your identity influences your behavior, and your behavior creates the results that you see when you wake up every day. And last but not least, release the negative energy. So many people are walking around with years of built up pain and trauma. They're trying to manifest while carrying years of unresolved emotions. Do not be like that. Journal, cry, try therapy. Anything that allows for true and honest emotional processing is going to be key in this journey of healing. You cannot receive new blessings with hands that are still gripping old pain. So all in all, folks, your soft era is not about becoming weaker. It's about becoming safer within yourself. Because when your nervous system feels safe, your health improves, your relationships deepen, your pockets get fatter, opportunities become easier to recognize, and life feels less like a battle. The highest version of you is not forcing their way through life. They're aligned with who they are, regulated in their body, and ready to receive what they've been working towards. If you're entering your soft era, comment "I choose peace" below. And if you want more neuroscience-backed spiritual tools to help you move into your highest life, subscribe and be a part of the journey and the family. Promise y'all, we're locked in for real this time. I might do a video explaining where I've been the past year and what I've learned. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments as well, and I will get on that. And I will see you next week. Bye.